So hi, I'm back. This is Jean. It has been a minute. I started my transformation series 4 months ago and was going along great, and then life took over. So I'm back, but I'm back for a even bigger transformation than the one that I was going through before. I made a decision. I tried some things that didn't really work out. I made a decision that I'm going hardcore into a 30-day total body transformation, and I'm going to do that by fasting. I'm going to support myself with teas that I have blended, crafted myself, and a sequence of those teas that will help support me during the fast. All this through my business, my Gene B Apothecary, because I'm an herbalist, also a health coach. So I feel like I am in a good place to start this journey. Why 30 days? Well, because I feel like the biggest impact will be by just buckling down and doing it, not extending it over 6 months or a year. Look at my progress over that period of time. Now, this isn't to say that this is replacing the transformation of other areas of my life. This is a transformation of my body. Will happen to have some mental changes as well. At least that's my hope. So I'm starting this on day 2 of this 30-day transformation. So yesterday was day 1. I can give a recap of how that went, and actually it went really well. I think the hardest part is the getting over the idea that I'm not going to eat a meal the next day, right? So if it's the day before, if you're thinking about a 24-day fast, it's just like, oh, I'm going to have to go through a whole day without eating. That's one of the reasons why I decided that I was going to support this fast through teas, because then at least gives me something to do, and it's not taking in any calories. It's not just water. And these teas are carefully blended to support me in electrolytes and minerals and vitamins and things like that that won't kickstart any digestion or stop any autophagy, any of the good stuff that's going on. Won't stop my ketosis. So there's a lot of great benefits to fasting. If you're like, oh my God, you're going to do a 30-day fast, that's crazy. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Well, we're very equipped as a human body to undergo fasting. It is just part of what nature had in store for us back before supermarkets and refrigerators and abundance of food. There were times when there was a famine, and there were times when there was a feast, and our bodies respond to that. And I think that might have some impact on what's happening with us now. The ease of which there is to get food and the different kinds and flavors, we're just programmed to eat it. And then the idea that we don't have it doesn't really happen for us anymore. So I'm going to artificially go into famine, but I'm getting the benefit of having inputs that are nourishing. I've got data to support this. I have a support team of people who will be monitoring me. In fact, I want to do this as an experiment because there is not a lot of data on the human effects, the effects on humans of a 30-day fast. So I'm happy to be the guinea pig, the proverbial guinea pig. I'm going to, and I have already taken, before I even started, I got my body composition tested, blood pressure. I haven't got a full blood work panel, but I'm going to do that, and I'm going to monitor that. So I'm going to monitor my body composition throughout the fast, and I'm going to monitor how I feel, my mental capacity, my hunger, how just generally how I feel, my irritability, things like that. And if at any time I feel like I'm putting myself in danger, I will stop. I will refeed and talk about what I learned and how long reasonably a person can expect to go into a fast. Now, I'm pretty healthy. I'm overweight. I don't take any medications. I am not a doctor. Do not take anything that I am saying here as any kind of medical advice. I am definitely not a doctor. But I do have a lot of years of experience with learning about food, learning about the body, health coaching, herbalism, it all ties in together. So I'm not unknowledgeable about what I'm doing right now, but I cannot offer any medical advice whatsoever, and this is nothing to do with that. Recapping how yesterday went, it went really well. I got up and I felt hungry. I had some tea. I went through the day around midday, normal to feel hungry. I felt hungry around a time I would normally eat. I had some tea. I think psychologically I miss eating more than I feel like I need to eat. So the habits that I developed over the span of a little while, like I've had periods of time where I've done very well with eating, but then emotionally I tend to, if I've got a lot of emotional things happening in my life or stressful things happening in my life, I sometimes let those barriers down, and then it just kind of builds. It's like a snowball. I just kind of go down the path, and my body weight goes up, and my mind starts to get more fuzzy and clouded and tired, and my aches and pains start to be more prevalent and predominant, and things that shouldn't feel bad, and I think, ugh, I just can't do this anymore. And instead of going down a path that I would have gone before, which is I'll do a little bit of intermittent fasting, I'll start this big exercise program, I'll maybe fast for a week, and I've never done a full water fast. It's always had some kind of calories involved in this time period. And I've seen good results, but never fully went like all the way to where I would be at my most optimal healthy place. And I'm hoping that 30 days will either do it or get me in such a great position that the next period of time when I am refeeding and taking in nourishing foods, that I continue that path to get to where I ultimately want to be. So today I feel good. Typically I feel like the second day is the worst day, and I don't actually feel too bad. I've got some things going on to keep me busy. I do take my blood tests in the morning, my glucose and ketones, to kind of know what's happening inside of my body when I become fat adapted and the ketone bodies are in my body, and my brain is running off of ketones as fuel. I still have glucose in my system, so that's not, at least I did this morning. I haven't taken any new tests this afternoon to see where I am, and I tend to kind of just stick with a morning, an hour after I get up, a little prick on the finger, I'll test my glucose and I'll test my ketones. So yesterday morning, baseline, a normal glucose level, it wasn't elevated or anything, and no ketones, which is completely expected. Today I got up and my glucose levels were about the same as they were yesterday, just a tiny bit lower, and then I had a boost in ketones by 0.4. If you don't know what those numbers mean, I'll get into that more. It just means I'm starting to see ketones in my body. There's a number that should be like the high number, and it's not super high. And again, when I get there, I'll talk more about that, so you'll have to tune in to kind of keep up to date on what's going on and learn about what happens to your body during fasting. So this time I want to take full benefit, and really what's important to me is making sure I document it fully so that I can say with a certain amount of knowledge, because I've gone through it myself, about what really happens. And if I take good, get good data with blood work and body composition tests on a, I don't know if I can get blood work on a weekly basis, but I will get some at the beginning and end. I haven't done that yet, so it's got to be early next week. And at the end, when I finish, before I start refeeding, I want to see what those numbers say. Just a standard panel for somebody my age. And I'm just going to say I'm really excited about this. Like, there's a part of me that thinks, ugh, I can't even think about not eating for a month, but it's 30 days. I mean, 2 of them are almost over. And if I just keep going and keep busy and do the things that need doing, and I get into cleaning phases and just things like that, I keep my mind off of eating, and I can break that mindset also. So this habit of reaching for food when not even hungry, that'll go away. That habit will be broken. I will be talking, speaking about habits and kind of addictive things. We'll talk about that in a separate video. I'll be doing more, not technical, but getting more into the details of a certain aspect of fasting and our mental states and how food affects us and what we do with that, and addiction, and what our body does when we don't give it food, when we do give it food, when it wants something, when it craves something, and all that stuff. We're going to get into that in separate videos. So I think I've shared a good deal about what happened today and yesterday, and so if you tune in, subscribe and tune in daily, you'll hear about how I'm doing every day, and then you'll get alerted when I am getting into something in more depth. So subscribe so you can follow along and see what I'm doing every day, how this fast is affecting me. Am I going to just be like all crashed out and not able to do anything? Or am I going to be feeling pretty good? What are the results going to look like? I'll talk a little bit about weight and things like that. I'm not going to get into that right now. I'll kind of get into that when I have a little bit more data. So other things I'll talk about in separate videos. So I'll have daily check-in videos, and then I'll be talking about in more detail, like what your body's doing over this period of time, at least to a point. And when we have data, at some point there's just not a lot of human data. So I'll be talking about what I'm learning and see how that matches up to what maybe some other people have encountered. I'm not the only one to do this, but there's not a lot of research data. So hope to see you back, and give me a comment if you're curious about anything that I'm doing or any of the tea blends. I'll share a little bit about that later as well. But right now I can tell you in our, I'll say 42, that I feel good. I feel really good right now. I'll see you tomorrow. I hope you'll be on tomorrow. Bye for now.